So the head of the DEA taking fire from lawmakers. She says she cannot fire anyone, however, after revelations that some of her agents had sex parties with prostitutes funded by Colombian drug cartels.
What power do you have? You have to work with agents over whom you can't discipline and have no control, and you have no control over the security clearance. What the hell do you get to do?
What I can do is build on and improve mechanisms to make sure that the outcome is what we believe the outcome should be.
That's what's happening in your agency. You're protecting the people who solicited prostitutes, who had 15 to 20 sex parties, went through this whole operation, used taxpayer money to do it.
Could you recommend that they fire somebody? So you're saying you can't fire somebody, but somebody junior to you can fire somebody. Is that what you're telling us?
My position as administrator, under the Civil Service Act, we have to follow certain civil service protections.
It did not get much better from there. Our Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz out of Utah, chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Sir, good morning and welcome back to America's Newsroom.
Bill.
A stunning story here. What has been proven about what was happening outside the country?
You had more than a dozen DEA agents. There was no dispute of the facts that engaged in prostitution that was paid for by drug cartels. They had access to computers, to guns, in personal residences. And the problem is, once they found out about this, there was one part where an agent actually had assaulted one of these women, not only engaged in the prostitution, but actually physically assaulted her. It was witnessed by a security guard where he threw a glass at her, a dispute on how much money he owed. And the punishment for this was between 2 and 10 days off unpaid leave. It seemed more like a vacation. And the administrator, who's been in the lead position for more than a decade, either as the #1 or #2 person, has really done nothing fundamentally to change this. She's just offered no confidence.
So they are in another country using access from those they're supposed to be policing, right?
Yeah.
Money,
yeah.
access, guns, prostitutes.
Yeah.
Now, who thinks this is okay?
Well, the administrator says she's outraged, but the contrast is she really hasn't done anything about it. After the experience in Cartagena, where we heard about the Secret Service agents, then you heard about the DEA, and they actually eventually got let go, but the others did not. And so she just claims, well, there's nothing I can do because it's up to this board. I don't buy that. First of all, you can't operate as a DEA agent if you don't have a security clearance, and she can do that. Were these people stripped of their security clearances? No. Were they fired? No. Were they transferred to some terrible place? No. She did not do anything about it.
Well,
now she's expressing outrage because we're holding accountable.
That to me sounds like you've got a bigger problem in your hands, and that is the government can't fire people.
We have seen this across multiple agencies, but others seem to actually deal with this. But in the case of the DEA, she's been there in charge for more than 10 years. I think the president should fire her. If she's not going to take care of the problem, if she's not going to strip them of the security clearances, if she's not going to change the board. One question was, did you give these people bonuses? Did these people get promotions? And the answer is yes. Some of these people actually got promotions after this.
That's nuts. I mean, we stop and think about that.
That's why she should be fired. The president should fire her or let her go.
And maybe that happens for her and her fate and maybe a few others, but I think there's a bigger issue again, and that comes back to behavior. Who thinks this is acceptable?
I mean, it's almost embarrassing, but the Attorney General literally on Friday sent out an email to everybody in the Department of Justice and said, even though it may be legal in some places, you cannot engage in paid commercial sex. I mean, it's embarrassing to have to even talk about this, but that's how bad it's become, and it is, but there's got to be consequences. And so they flail their arms, but they don't actually do anything, and that's what we got to change.
Has it stopped or is it still going on? What's the answer on that?
Don't know. I mean, one of the most outrageous things is the DEA said they want to get to the bottom of this, but they have impeded the ability of the Inspector General to get in there and look under the hood. So they won't even, the Inspector General gave them 45 search terms to search their databases, and they only allowed them to search on 3 terms. That doesn't sound like an agency that wants to get to the bottom of this and solve this. let the Inspector General go find out how pervasive this problem really is.
Sounds like you have some more questions. Jason Chaffetz will stay on it. Thank you for your time today.